Good Tuesday, everybody. We are back with day 6 of the 12 days of page turners. And as you guys have heard me say, this is the happiest time of year for me because I get to meet so many amazing authors. We have over 60 authors this year that we're trying to get through, and they all are offering a special holiday promotion for you because you guys know the greatest gift that you can give anyone this holiday season is a book to read, because it takes them out of reality, it takes them away and lets them escape, it motivates them, puts them in the right mindset, all of those beautiful things. And it is the gift that keeps on giving. So that is enough from me. You guys don't really want to hear from me. Good evening, everybody that is watching. William, yes, we're going to get to Carrie, and she is amazing. So without further ado, let's welcome our first author of the evening. And we're going to bring up Red O'Loughlin, who I have known for years. I love him and adore him. And he was the first one I saw today. So Red, how are you today?
Excellent as always.
I love that answer. I need that answer. I'm going to call you every day to get it, because every time I talk to you, I get it, and it just fills me with joy. So, Red, tell us.
Some days I'm better.
You know, you have said that, but I haven't heard that yet. I'm going to aim to hear that on a day. I'm going to wait because I know it's going to come at some point. But tell us, what genre you write in and how long you've been a writer.
I write in health and wellness. I've been doing that probably a little over 10 years. However, I started writing probably in the Navy back in the early 70s. And then I taught college for a while at night, taught statistics, and had to do some writing there. And I worked in reliability and quality assurance and logistics. I wrote several articles for publication in international symposiums. But when I first started really writing seriously for audiences, it was probably around 2009, 10, 11 timeframe. And I was writing primarily in self-help, motivation, any kind of self-improvement stuff. And I was speaking and selling my books and CDs at the back of the room. My wife came down with breast cancer around 2013, 14. And my first love, long before I ever met my wife, was chemistry. And the impetus there was to find out, what can I do to change some of the side effects that she was getting? I used my first love, chemistry, to research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking, looking for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat a symptom, you'll always be treating it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that early in life, because as soon as I got my degree in chemistry, I got an invitation to Vietnam. And then things kind of changed after that, and I never got back into it until literally the last 10 years or so. But that's kind of a real quick and dirty. Nowadays, most of my stuff I write on is on health and wellness. I specialize in longevity, aging. I've written almost 1,000 articles on LinkedIn, all original content. I got about 1,500 on my blog site.
Wow. You love chemistry. I'm totally opposite. And I know you know this story, but I'm going to say it for everyone listening that doesn't know this story. I have never taken chemistry in any of my degree that I have, even in high school. I never took a chemistry class. I know very few things on the periodic table. So I need to hang out with you more, Red, to know those, because I'm married to a chemical engineer who gives me crap every day about it. Like, to be fair, he's like, you don't know what this is? No, I don't. So I love that. And I love that, you started doing that and stuff to, when your wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, to kind of alleviate some of those things that were going on.
Yeah, we were successful in the vast majority of them. There's only one I couldn't cure at the time. And ironically, in between chemo and radiation, we found the fix for that. And she recovered perfectly well. In fact, a year later, we were walking the Camino de Santiago on Thanksgiving. It's a 500-mile walk across Spain. We did it in 30 days, and
wow,
no problems whatsoever.
That's incredible. You did the whole thing in 30 days?
500 miles in 30 days.
Wow.
And we both celebrated our 70th birthdays over there on the Camino.
Oh, now that makes it so special. Like, you're always going to remember that. And so that's the coolest memory to have, besides, the birth of your kids and stuff. I mean, that's cool too. But I mean, you both celebrated your birthdays on there, and you did it in 30 days. That's just insane.
Yeah, I did. I said I'd do to my Navy career on a Sunday afternoon with my best friend. He flunked. He ended up 4F. He didn't go to Vietnam. I passed. I became a naval aviator. The following Wednesday night, he was my best man at my wedding. I said I do to my wife, and that's been 54 years.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. 54 years is such an accomplishment, and that's amazing. So congratulations to both of you. How exciting. Yes, it is impressive. Yes, it is. It's definitely impressive. So what made you want to, specialize in longevity? And one, can you make me look like this when I'm like 70? Because if we need to talk, okay?
Is it,
I've got long-term goals, man.
is there a doubt in your mind?
Yes, yes, there is. Yes.
Well, I think part of it's the fact that you follow the yellow brick road. There's a couple of things. I wrote a book on longevity secrets for healthy aging, and there's two primary causes of aging, and most people have no idea in the world what they are. And you do three or four things, you think you're doing everything right. Well, you might be doing two right and 10 wrong. And so that caught my attention. Well, what else is out there? Well, what causes disease in general? So I wrote a book on the joy of aging. And in that one, I talk about what are the primary causes for these things to happen. And things like Alzheimer's, you hear about the beta amyloid plaques and things, but there's really probably about 8 or 9 pathways for that disease to develop. And as I'm studying and looking at it, these are the things that I'm getting older, I want to avoid. So what do you have to do that? And that's where I concentrate. What causes this to happen? If this happens, what caused it? Well, what caused the previous thing? What caused the thing before that? And as you go through that little chain of events, then you can see, well, if you do this, that stops that one. If you do this one here, maybe it speeds it back up. And so that's kind of where I love to be in that range of finding out things. I mean, it's an interesting area to be in because what we learned 10, 15 years ago isn't necessarily applicable today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, things are always changing, and sometimes they change at such a fast speed. So to kind of stay on top of it and stuff, I mean, that's one of the reasons I love social media, is because it's always changing, and you have to really stay on your toes and dive into so many different things and new platforms. It's going to be worth it, all those things. And so you have that love, for research and doing it for health and wellness and longevity and all of these things. And so
Yeah.
well, I know on top of that, you have never missed a day blogging, Mr. Red. Is that true?
Well, it's true for almost 650 days. I came down with COVID first time, and that kind of
Right.
disrupted that cycle. But yeah, I did write every day, publish every day for quite a while. Uh,
That I love that. So, I mean, writing just seems to be, is it almost like therapeutic for you to write and share the health,
well,
tips and
when I
wellness
first
things?
started in this business that we're in right now, I joined a Facebook group called My 500 Words, and it was started January 1st. We had to write for 30 days, 500 words, and that became, the norm. And then after 30 days, what are we going to do? Well, we kept writing. So we got to 100 days. We got to, 6 months. We got to a year. Got to 2 years. I think I got to about 6.5 years writing 500 words or more a day. And there would be some occasions I'm laying in bed at night and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't write. I get up out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to go write because it became a habit and I couldn't go to bed not having done that. And so that was part of that beginning of a habit, was doing something every single day. And 500 words wasn't enough to get it going. I eventually ended up to about 11 or 12, 1,300 words a day for quite a few, almost a year, I guess, because 500 just was just a few minutes and it was gone. So I had to have something that was a little bit more challenging.
Oh, wow. So eventually it just wasn't challenging for you. So you needed to expand. And so you started writing your books and things like that. But Red, I admire that you got up at 2 in the morning to write if you missed it, because I'm telling you right now, the only people that can get me out of bed when I'm asleep like that are my kids. And
Yeah.
that's if I hear them, to be fair. And all the moms out here know that's if you hear them and then you're like, oh, maybe they'll stop, and then they don't, but I
Well,
admire that.
it happened more than once. It happened more than twice. So after about the third time, I said, I need to stop this going to bed. So I, one of the last, and I've got a couple of times where, okay, fine, just go downstairs and write, and boom, and make it happen.
Right. Just get it out. So have you ever done like NaNoWriMo or anything like that?
Actually, I did several years ago when my wife was going through chemo. I was looking for some kind of diversion, and I wrote about 30,000 words in a story. I'm an anti-submarine warfare background in the military. I'm a naval flight officer, and we had a mission on a Russian submarine, and I recounted basically a 24-hour day. 12-hour. I started out with with a torpedo being dropped from the aircraft I was in on top of a Russian submarine. And so I backed it up 12 hours before, 11 hours before, et cetera. I take it all the way up to the event of actually dropping the torpedo and then the hours afterwards. So I took into account a 24-hour day because most of our missions were about 12 or 13 hours. You had 3 hours of pre-flight, a couple 3 hours of post-flight. So before you know it, you had an 18, 19-hour day before you ever started. And so I wrote that. I have that down. The only thing I didn't do was actually put the text in for the characters, their conversations. And so I have the book written. I just now need to go back and do the character development and have that conversation going back and forth.
Wow. So would you say that you're a pantser type of writer, or are you more a plotter and you like those things called outlines that really stress Amy out?
I usually do the outline after I get done.
Oh, wow. Really? So you work backwards? So you're like a pantser and then you turn into a plotter at the very end to make sure you covered everything?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never heard of that. I love
When I was
that.
writing the Longevity Secrets book, I'm going through everything, checking it, and all of a sudden, oh, I left that out. So literally the night before I'm pushing it through the mill, I had to add another chapter because it wasn't in there. But I wouldn't have caught it if I hadn't done the outline when I got done.
I love that. So how many books have you written?
I've written 5. 3 of the ones that I'm going to talk about tonight for the special, which is coming up very rapidly here on time-wise. They're the basically, let me just jump into the special so we can end that part of it real quickly.
No, let it go for it.
Okay. My ebooks, the 3 primary ones, Longevity Secrets for Healthy Aging, The Joy of Aging, and No Matter What You Can Do It, are normally $6.99, taking 43% off. They're $2.99. I can't make them any lower than that on the system. And I'm a book coach, book strategist, and a publisher. And on that part of my business, between now and you have all the information I sent you by email, but between now and the end of, I think, January, February, March, something like that, I'm taking the first couple hours free. I charge normally $25 an hour for my coaching. And for my publishing, I'm making, if it's less than 200 pages in the book, it's $300 if there's a finished manuscript. If it's an ebook only, that $300 is for ebook and paperback. But if it's an ebook only, I'll do it for $1 a page and publish it for you.
Wow.
And there's some time limits on that, so you'll publish that. But if anybody's got a question, give me a call. If you need an extension, I'm flexible. I can do just about anything. Just I need to know you have an interest or you have a friend who has an interest. Not a problem. We can make all this stuff happen.
I love it, Red. I know I have seen your work and I have known you for many years. And so there is no one else that I would recommend besides Red O'Loughlin to take care of. And I know that you are very flexible. So I do appreciate that. So how many books have you helped publish?
Over 2 dozen. I have another one that's being released, be my first children's book, be released next Thursday. And then there's a couple other ones. I've done a really unique one with a cookbook where the author wanted a spiral bound book, which was kind of interesting. It's expensive, and we found a very inexpensive way of making it happen. But most of the books I do are, from novels to memoirs. In fact, Dr. Warnart was on last night, I think, and I did his book. It started out at 800 pages. We finally got it down to 433 after a number of months of working on it.
Yeah, that one was a beast to tackle because it definitely is, 6-month journey between him and his wife on their honeymoon. It was amazing.
Yeah. And he had almost 100 chapters and over 100 photos. And so when you throw those things in there, it takes a little bit of extra time when you're doing formatting a chapter and then trying to get the photo to fit in there in a certain place and not have too much white space here, there, and yonder. And so, yeah, it was a challenge, but it was a good learning one.
Yeah, definitely. It spread your wings a little bit, right? Gave you a little bit more knowledge that you didn't know, right? So
I've done a couple of books with 80 chapters or more. I've done a couple of books with over 80 photos, but this is the first one that had kind of everything together in one book. I did one book that had 400 hot links. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Wow, that's a lot. Wow.
Yeah, I verify everyone is still hot when we go to press.
Yes, you do. I know you are very dedicated, 100%. But Redman, thank you so much for joining us again on the 12 days. It's your second year with me, but I've known you much longer. But it is always such a delight. So you guys, Red's holiday promotion this holiday season is down in the comment section below. And I don't know why it's saying that your URL is wrong, but I've disagreed with them. So it should be posted on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, I will manually post it. But Redman, thanks so much for taking time out of your night to come talk with me.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you again, Amy, for inviting me.
Oh, you are so welcome. Coming up next is Carrie Simpson. How are you? You're muted. I got you.
I'm blessed. How are you?
Oh, I am doing good. It is my happiest time of the year besides my kids' birthdays and Christmas.
I love Christmas too. I actually start decorating. I'm one of those weirdos that start decorating like right after Halloween, but don't care. I'm thankful on Thanksgiving that it's up. So
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's the best answer. I'm telling you, I had my outside lights and my Christmas tree up before I went home for Thanksgiving. Okay. I'm one of those people. So just, full disclaimer, I'm your people for sure. But Carrie, tell us a little bit about what genre you write in and how long you've been a writer.
yeah, so I write children's books. So I've only written and self-published one, but I'm working on two other ones right now. And then I'm also writing my autobiography.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of intense and heavy. I'm a 5-time cancer survivor, and I've just had a lot of stuff happen. You know how like a lot of people inflict things upon themselves? Like I didn't inflict any of it.
Right.
Like with the cancers, we've had 2 fires, just a lot of stuff. And so it when I was writing my autobiography, I was like, this is so heavy. I need something light and fun and fluffy. So I decided to write a children's book. So I have 2 little girls. Well, they're not little. They're 16 and 18, but we have 2 girls. And so when they were little, we were drinking lemon water, and one of them swallowed like a lemon seed in the straw through the straw, and she was like, oh, "Is it gonna grow inside of me?" And so, so basically, that was my first book. It's called "Oh No, I Swallowed a Seed." So it's about a little girl. Ooh, can you see? It's about a little girl who like swallows a strawberry seed, and she dreams vines are going to grow out of her nose and tickle her toes, and it goes to the color of the rainbow. It's really really precious. It's educational. It has the life cycle of the seed, the Roy G. Biv stuff like that, and then it's funny, and then at the end it has something good that comes out of it. So
I love that. I love that you made it fun and educational. And it's almost like a spin-off of, like when you're pregnant and they ask if you ate a watermelon seed, it's like a cute spin-off of that. But I love the purpose behind the book. It's from your daughter saying something, that she swallowed a seed and was afraid it was going to grow. I love that.
She swallows a watermelon seed. That's part of the Roy G. Biv, and she thinks she's going to get a big old belly.
I love it. Oh, I love it. I love that.
It's really cute.
It's something that you can share from when your kids were little, when they say the darndest things when they're little, and you can't help but just laugh at them. Like it's just you just laugh at them. It's one of the perks of being a mom, right? But I love that you took that and turned it into a story. And hey, I am so honored that you decided to join the 12 Days of Page Turners. Being a 5-time cancer survivor, you are one of the strongest people I've ever met, and probably is on this show. So thank you so much for joining all of us on here. And hey, you are strong, and I'm just grateful that you're here to talk with us today.
Thank you. Me too. So I have I have over 52 inches of scars. So I'm 6 foot tall. So I have as many inches of scars as I am tall. So a good thing I'm short. But I had Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 20 years old, and then they over radiated me. And so it made me have sarcoma. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Anyways, they took out like 3 of my ribs, part of my spine, 3/4 of my back. And then basically, yeah, that's it. And then I had squamous cell, which is a skin cancer. So 5 is enough.
Oh my goodness. Yes. No more, right?
No more.
You're good. 5 is, 0 is a better number, but we're done. Okay. We're done at 5.
I'm done. Now I just want to have 5 books, not 5 cancers, right? So
exactly. Oh my gosh, I love that. 5 books. Yes, absolutely. Amazing warrior, and so proud of you, and love the books. So I have people that are commenting, telling us that the illustrations are gorgeous. So tell us a little bit about what all went into the illustrations for your book.
Yeah. So the illustrator, he's actually a friend of mine that I grew up with. He's like a brother. His name is Curtis Baldwin, and he is a tattoo artist that lives in Hawaii. And every year for Christmas, he would basically draw all these beautiful pages that were black and white for coloring pages for my girls. And I was like, I really like what he's doing. So I called him one day and I was like, hey, would you maybe want to illustrate a book? And he was like, yeah. So we kind of go back and forth. And the funny thing is He's colorblind, which like the book is full of colors. So
Wow, no way.
yeah,
Wow.
so I don't know how that happened. I mean, just communication back and forth. I was like, no, that's not the color I'm going for. Yes, that's the great color, whatever. But he's this fantastic guy, and he just wanted to do a kindness for me. So I self-published the book, and it's called Be Kind Publishing. And so he was like, I just wanted to do something kind for you because you're so kind for everybody else. And so anyways, he is illustrating my next two books, and he is working on those right now. So
Wow. I love that. It's almost like a big family affair,
it is.
of your books. The story came from your daughter saying the darndest thing, and then your illustrations is someone that and then he's going to do, your other two books. And so I love that. I love when there's, family ties. I'm a very family oriented person. You probably don't know that, like with having me on here. My kids are like, in the other room. I am very family oriented. And so I love that. And I love that you became a children's author. So are your other two books going to be like the same, in the realm of the children's genre? Are you branching out? Where are you going?
Yeah, so they're children's books as well. So at the end of this book, it says, "Remind me if I ever worry about swallowing a seed again, that no one has ever had a seed grow from within, or have they?" And she has like the fruits of the spirit coming out of her heart, because I think that they grow inside of you if you let them. And so each book that I'm writing hereafter is like focused on one of the fruits of the spirit. So the next one is actually called "Oh Geez, I Need a Bandage, Please," and it's about when this little girl goes to the hospital because she has cancer, and she gives out these really fun, cool band-aids to all of her friends that are there. So it's really, really sweet and precious. And it just kind of gives a different, every cancer so like negative and sad. And, it just kind of gives it a twist that's different, that needs to be told differently. So
Oh yeah, it opens up the conversation, but it makes it where it doesn't have to be a sad conversation, especially with little kids and things like that. So I think
absolutely.
I think that's amazing. And I love your titles. Like they are just they're so cute. Like I'm a 30-year-old and I'm like, can I have this book? Like I love it. Like I'm totally here for the oh geez, I need a bandage, please.
Thank you.
That is just amazing. And it reminds me because your books I feel like will relate to every parent out there in
Yes.
some form or fashion. I mean, you just told me the title of your book and a little bit of what it's about, and I'm over here remembering my daughter had hernia surgery, and her surgeon on her bandage that she had drew an ice cream cone, like a female ice cream cone. It was all sassy, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing. Why don't we all have like pediatric doctors? They're so fun." Like, oh man, to go back to have that in like the fun rooms. And so I love that. And it brings back happiness. Not every
Yes.
conversation has to be sad.
Yes.
There's happiness in everything. It always can be a downer at times, but it's good to have those, joy and
A,
stuff.
sil-
Yes.
a silver lining.
Exactly. Oh, that is the perfect word. I never would have thought of that. Words are hard for me, you guys. I'm not a writer. I just live through you guys. Words are hard. Okay. Words are definitely hard. But so are you going to stop at year 3, or are you going to, create
No.
like a seed series? What's your
Oh, yeah.
goals or ambitions?
Well, each of the fruits of the spirits is what, joy, peace, love, faith, all of them. So there's going to be a book about each one. So like one of them is called Oh Heart Sparkles. And it's about when you do something in kindness and love for me, and both of our hearts are sparkling. And then I do something for someone else and you do something for someone else. And theoretically, by the end of the day, everybody's heart should be sparkling. So just stuff like that. I'm so excited to get them all done, and I'm just excited for everyone to read them.
I love it. You are just a happy person, and you're just like, I don't know, up the street from me. I mean, it's like 2 hours, but you're near me. I just want to hang around you. You're just fun. Like you're just fun, and I'm here for it, and I love it. But I love that the sincerity, just you're talking about your books, you just loved to write them, and then sincerity and what all you've been through doesn't define you, and you're
Yes.
still focused on making it a joyful experience for other people and
Yes.
conversations. And that to me is just the most amazing thing that
Thank you.
anybody could do. So you're just an amazing person. I love it. I'm so jealous of Greg getting to do your author talk short. And then he mentioned it just to throw it in my face. I love him dearly. But I love that. And I love the story behind your illustrations. I think it really adds to it for sure. So how long did it take you to publish your first book?
It took about a year, mostly like for the illustrator because I had to work with him whenever he was busy with his tattoos and things. But yeah, not too terribly long, I wouldn't say.
No, I mean, I think that's average. I think because you put into your book the quality and expectations that you have for your book and the
Yes.
quality product that you would want to pick up. And so I think a year is great. And the fact that, he lives in that crazy, dread, awful place, Hawaii. I mean, oh gosh, just to live there, like, oh, of course.
I may just have to go see him. I'm real soon.
Right?
I'm just saying.
Just to push them along, be like, hey, I came, to push you along on my illustrations. Can I just come hang out with you for a week?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that, and I love everything. And I'm looking at your holiday offer that you're offering this holiday season, and I would love to contribute and match what you donate is what I would love to do. I am a huge advocate for it, and it makes me all like sentimental and cry. And hey, I just did my red lipstick, and we can't do that. Okay, like we can't do it. So we have to hold it together. I'll post a picture afterwards of the mess. Okay, but we're gonna hold it together. But I want you to know. So please email me the total amount in which you do, and I would love to match that.
I will. Thank you so much. Do you want me to tell you them?
I do. If you could let everybody know what your holiday promotion and offer is for this holiday season.
Okay. Well, if you go to bekindpublishing.com, so all of the signed copies are usually $15. And I took $1 off, and I'm going to donate $1 to St. Jude's. So that's what Amy was talking about. However many books we can sell, then part of that money will go to St. Jude's, and she will match it. So yay. Thanks, Amy.
Yes.
And then I go into different elementary schools, and I'm like the guest speaker or the author, whatever. And so basically a lot of the schools that I go to, they're underprivileged and they don't have any money to buy the books. And so you can donate a class set. There's 25 books, and you're getting actually $35 off today, which is a huge discount. Or you can just donate one if you want, and you get $1 off. So that's awesome. And then today, for the first time, I did a PDF of my book, and you can download that if you would like. And then the last thing is everybody's going to get a bookmark with their purchase.
I love that. So you will have to keep me into the loop on how much you end up donating, because I will match that for sure. And I always go broke in the 12 days, you guys. I mention this every night, but God, you guys are just putting out awesome deals and amazing books, and I love you guys. So I'm gonna have to buy a class set, Carrie. Like, you put me down. Send me however I need to do that. Okay, send me down for that, because I'm just gonna do it. See, I'm just going to go broke this holiday season. My kids are going to have to understand. They're getting books. Okay. Everybody's getting books from me. If family's watching, that's what your Christmas gift is. But Carrie, thank you so much for joining us. I feel honored that you even wanted to be a part of it. So thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come and talk with us, and for just being the strong, amazing person that you are.
Thank you. I really appreciate you and the platform. So thank you, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Oh, absolutely. So coming up next is J.M. Landals, who's going to tell me, I think, did I say your last name right? I've been practicing in my head, so I'm sorry if I didn't.
Landals is correct, yes.
Yes. Okay. I was sitting here and I was like, I was worried about it because I'm big on names. No one can ever say my last name. That's why it's not written up there, because it's just, no, we're not even going to attempt that. But J.M., tell us what genre you write in and how long you've been a writer.
Well, I've kind of been a writer all my life, in that when I was about 4 years old, I wrote some sort of feminist retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, as near as I can tell. But I guess I started seriously writing when my youngest daughters were in preschool, and they're adults now. So it's been a while. But I primarily write fantasy, and I'm just released the third book in my trilogy, Elena's Song Chorale. This is like, nobody has got these yet. The box has just arrived, and it is the sequel to the other two books, Overture and Aria.
Nice.
Overtures. This is the first one. Yeah, Overture. So yeah, and I also write historical fiction, but only a little bit of that is out in the world yet. So yeah.
I like the yet part after your historical fiction. Do you have big plans for that?
The historical fiction, it's actually being serialized in pulp literature. So there's a few sections of it out right now, and it's set in 17th century France. It's about a shepherdess turned spy, and the series is called The Shepherdess.
Wow. Well, you're gonna have to keep me updated, because I like that historical fiction is my thing. I mean, I'm big into psychological thrillers, and the more jacked up someone's mind is, the happier Amy gets. It's the weirdest thing. You don't want to be in my mind by any means, but I love historical fiction, and I love that time period. So keep me up to date on that, because that sounds like it's going to be amazing. But tell us a little bit about your series that you have going on right now.
Yeah, so Elena's Song is it's epic fantasy, I guess, in the largest sense of the word. It's really a story about mothers and daughters, though. I like to say it's kind of women's fiction dressed up as fantasy.
Oh, okay.
So I really wanted to tell the story of the making of a hero, and because I'm feminist AF, it's got to be a woman hero. So
I love it. I love the AF at the end. Like, oh, I love it. You're my kind of people, JM. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so it's a story of Elena from the time she's a little girl. Like the first book starts off when she nearly sings her brother to sleep and nearly kills him doing it, because she didn't know she had these magical abilities. And then the first book kind of takes her up to the age of 14. But in the meantime, there are also the stories of her mother and her grandmother woven in. And the story of her mother is it's kind of an action thriller romance. And the story of her grandmother is really like a political family saga with lots of intrigue and court politics and things like that. So you've got these three stories sort of braided together throughout all three books. And then they all kind of come together. They're all on separate timelines. They all come together at the end of the third book. Yeah.
So is that the completion of it, or is there going to be more in the series, or is there only the 3 books?
It is. The trilogy is complete, but there are some short stories. I've got a couple of short stories in the world already out in pulp literature. I've got one that came out in the summer. Another one's coming out in the winter issue. Unrelated characters. And I think probably what I'm going to do is collect those stories into an anthology at some point when I've got enough of them, because there's still characters who are still like nagging at me saying, you need to write my story. So.
Oh, yes. I hear that all the time. Characters seem to be quite needy. And if you don't give them attention, they don't get the attention, then they're just not nice. They will, nag
They're pushy.
Right. I hear that all the time. I've never experienced it, but I have a 3 and 2-year-old, and I feel like it's just like that. That's what I've decided when y'all mentioned it. I feel like it's just like them. So I do understand that, at least in my own mindset in that term. But what was your inspiration behind writing this series?
Well, part of the inspiration was just my own daughters and my mother and my grandmother, and just a lot of, and I will never tell anybody, which part of which person is in which character, because they are all mixed up and blended for anonymity. So that was a large part of the inspiration for sort of the emotional thread. But the first novel begins with a picture, a family portrait, and it's like that portrait just came into my head, and I started writing from there. And it starts like, if you walk down the staircase in the Castle Oz thing, you see this portrait. I describe the portrait, and it's kind of like it just all sort of spun out from there. I did have an idea at the very beginning. I had an idea where the story was going to end after 3 books. I knew what the character of Elena was going to be by the time she was an adult, by the time she had finished this journey. I just didn't know how she was going to get there. So that was the fun part.
So would you consider yourself a pantser as a writer, or do you plot out each book?
Oh, I'm a pantser.
Okay, see, like you used AF, and then you're a pantser. You're my kind of people. Outlines stress me out. I don't know about anybody else. I feel like outlines are really great for nonfiction books, and I still love all of you nonfiction authors. You are my people. I just don't want to be around you when you write, because if I see your outlines, it gives me anxiety, and I don't get anxiety very often, but outlines do. I got it in high school when I had to write papers, and they're like, it has to be an outline. They graded your outline. I always failed that portion. With the outline, I always failed it. I'm like, how do you fail an outline? But I did. Okay. I have mastered failing outlines. I need help on that for sure. But I love that. So do you just get like a vague story idea, and then you just let the words come out as you type it, or what is your pantsing process?
Well, we use these, I write in a group. So my co-editors at Pulp Literature and I write together. Sometimes, used to be once a week, sometimes once a month, sometimes once a day, depending on how our schedules are. I love it when it's once a day. Then I get a lot done. But we use the Hour Stories by Dale Adams Segal, which are a series of prompts. There's sort of a meditation and a visualization, and then and a prompt. And the prompt is very general, so it can apply to whatever you happen to be working on at the time. We're all writing different things.
Oh, okay.
But you write for 20 minutes. That's the beginning. You write for another 20 minutes. That's the middle. You write for another 20. That's the end. And then you read it back. And the key is when you read it back, you're writing it, and you have to write fast because you've got to read it back at the end. So you've got to get stuff out so you have something to read. And you're thinking all the time, oh, this is garbage. This is garbage. Oh, this is awful. Then you read it out, and you hear other people's reactions to the really raw, messy, unfinished work. And you immediately know what works and what doesn't work. And you can tell right away. And there's no holding on to the stuff that doesn't work, but you just grab onto that stuff that works. And those become the gems in your story. And then what I do is once I've got a whole series of these, I just sort of link them together and, fill in little bits here and there to make them chapters. But for the most part, that is the bulk of my writing.
I love that. So what was one of the first things, because you said writing has just always kind of been a part of you, right? So what was the first thing that you remember, writing and kind of being like, I have this story in me and I want to write it and publish it, but what was the work before that? Like before you decided to take that leap, what was the first thing you kind of remember writing?
Well, I did start a historical fiction novel when I was 14, and that will never see the light of day, thankfully. And I wrote, like in high school, I wrote a lot of short stories, and I won a lot of prizes with them. I was good at it. But I got to a point as an adult that I was paralyzed by perfection. I'd start to write, and I'd go, oh, this sentence is garbage. And I would stop myself. So it wasn't actually until I did a workshop with Dale Adams Segal, and this would be, I guess, about 20 years ago, where this is where I learned about the Hour Stories. And we actually did a retreat where we were away. We're at this beautiful bed and breakfast, just writing. And that was what finally unlocked it for me. So yeah, I had to get through that university-induced perfectionism.
Oh, for sure. Yes, because, you can always put out an updated version, right? You're always going to find something wrong with your book that's published or your writing, missing a comma, anything like that, right? And when you strive for perfection and things, but you will always find mistakes in it, right? But I'm kind of the opposite. I embrace mistakes. I think that's why, I don't know, I just laugh at myself and have humor, because I don't know, we're just, none of us are perfect, right? And if I feel like life's too short to strive for perfection. It was just meant to be enjoyed and to live and enjoy living it. So I understand that and overcoming that. And I'm sure that that made you a better writer, overcoming the
Oh,
perfection,
absolutely.
because you had more freedom. You were just
Yeah.
more like, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it my way, right? I love that. I love that. So tell us a little bit about the holiday special that you have going on this holiday season.
All right. Well, because my third book is being released, that one is on special right now on Amazon.com for 99 cents as the ebook pre-release. It will be out December 11th. So, so that's a deal right by itself. However, if you buy the ebook on special and send a proof of purchase, so it can be a screen cap or just send your confirmation email to sff@pulpliterature.com. Pulp Literature will send you a $5 coupon for anything in the Pulp Literature bookstore. And so we've got, in the bookstore, there's like over 36 issues that you can choose from of short fiction anthologies. We've got a whole bunch of novels as well, science fiction, mystery, historical fiction. So there's all sorts of stuff to choose from in there. You get, like I said, you spend $99 or 99 cents on an ebook, and you get a $5 coupon to spend on whatever you like.
Wow, that's a good deal. I love that for sure. But Jan, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me. I've never met you, and I was looking forward to it. I know you messaged me and you emailed me, and I was like, you are excited about it. And that made me excited about tonight. And so I was just looking forward to it. And I was looking forward to hearing from your stories. And the inspiration behind it is beautiful. And I would never, if I wrote a book, and I incorporated my sisters and stuff in it, or my kids, I would never tell them which personality meant, because I just feel like that would cause trouble, and I am enough trouble as it is. I don't need to get myself into more, but I love it. And the inspiration and everything behind it is so beautiful. And your holiday promotion this holiday season is amazing. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come hang out with my crazy self and meet me. I mean, I am what you get, and to meet me. And it's been so much fun. So thank you so much.
It was lovely to meet you. And,
awesome.
And hi, Joanne.
Look, Carrie Ringwald just ordered your book. Look. I love it. That is what tonight is all about, people. That is what tonight is all about. So coming up next is Anne Scotland, who I always have so much fun speaking with. Anne, how are you?
I am good. I'm feeling festive. I have ornaments all over my floor, but my tree, I don't have my tree yet. So
that's okay. The ornaments on the floor, that's a new way of doing it. I like it. I like
about outlines, right? Get it organized. The tree will appear. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So, Anne, tell us a little bit about the genre that you write in and how long you've been a writer.
Sure. I've been a writer also my whole life. I wrote my first play when I was 10. My father and grandmother both wrote poetry, so it got me inspired at a young age to that you could really be creative and have fun with words. And by a young teenager, I really was becoming a wordsmith. That's my greatest joy, really, playing in the words, picking the right words. So over my lifetime, I've been a very diversified writer, from academia, publishing, award-winning in academia, to the half-finished historical novel, to, I am a historian, so that when she was talking about that, I was like, yes, please give me more. I love historical fiction. And then I was an actress in Hollywood for many years, where I started writing screenplays. And then as I kind of phased into the area of industry of wellness, emotional wellness, that I've been in the last, 5, 6, 7 years, I started turning my thoughts to how can you bring emotional wellness into everyday life without it being complicated, without it having to, there's a certain consumer out there who's not going to read the whole book. I'm sure Red knows that. Or they might read a chapter, right? So it started actually out on Twitter because I have a large social media following, and I started writing inspirational, motivational, philosophical thoughts, pairing them with images. And eventually people started saying, why don't you put this into a book? We really want the book. And so that's how Live for Joy was born. It's 280 pages. It's full color. Every page has illustrations. And I call it an experience because what I wanted to do was write a personal empowerment book that would only take a minute or two in your day to give you that thought that you can carry the rest of the day. And not every chapter is about joy. It's about all the different elements of life. But what can you be thinking on as far as changing your approach to joy? And there's more on that in my gift. But how do you find, one of the chapters, chapter number 3 is one of my favorite, and it's about how to be a benevolent world citizen. And that doesn't necessarily mean just giving money. It means part of finding your own joy is totally, as Carrie was saying, giving, giving to others, and then they give to someone else, and kind of how do you fit into that? And then the joy comes back to you. Motivation, encouragement. My last chapter is one of my favorites, called Learn to Love the Endings, which I think I have to talk to Red one of these days, because again, in any part of life, whether it's a job or perfect health, Carrie would know that too, right? Or whether it's, a relationship, and, everything has endings. But when you learn to love the endings as new beginnings, when there's sort of a reframing, you really can change how you experience joy in your life, as opposed to like everything kind of having the dark foreboding. I used to kind of laugh, make fun of people and say happiness is a choice. I think it is, but it's a little simplistic. I think joy is more of a practice. It's more of making tiny little adjustments. I like to think of a dial every day to experiencing more joy in your life, to slowly getting rid of things that suck your joy away, and turning up the dial on the things that bring you joy. I saw that Jam has her dog laying behind her there, and I was like, so, my dogs are my joy too. So, I could just be a workaholic, which I kind of love to do, but then spending that 30 minutes just on the floor playing with my 3 mini schnauzers is like so much joy for me. So when you're in your joy, you write better, you're nicer to your spouse, you're nicer to your family, and you just can come from that more abundant place. So that's what motivated and inspired me. And in this book, and then there is a kid's book about joy that is done and illustrated and coming out next month, and more on that to follow. And it's called The Chair of Joy. And it's about a process for kids to take 60 seconds out of their day and learn how to reframe their current emotion into a joyful experience, a tool that you can carry through with the rest of your life. If I had been taught something like this as a kid, growing up in my very weird background, which Amy knows, kind of like a right-wing cult, homeschooled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I'd been taught some of these simple tools for, like you really can step into your joy. You don't have to live in that experience of guilt or not being enough. The things we were talking about, not being perfect enough, like dealing with issues of perfection. So if you can learn to just become your own friend, that's a really beautiful thing. So that's coming out next month, and that's going to be The Chair of Joy. So
I love that. I need that for my kids, probably just for my mental sanity as well. So I definitely need that one. See, okay, and an update. Okay, I need you to keep me updated on when it comes out, or when it's for pre-sale, whatever. Just let me know. Let me know. But I just agree so much with what you say. I'm a firm believer in like mindset, and you choose to be happy, right? And I've always, said those things, like you wake up every day and you make those choices, consciously, but you make those choices, like to look over at your spouse, you choose to love them every day and tolerate them and their crazy self, right? I mean, but you choose to love them every day. And I know that you make all these choices. You choose to be happier, to see the beautiful in things, or to help somebody out. Those are all choices that you make. But I think a lot of it stems from your mindset behind what those things are and the mindset that you set, for the day, like when you wake up and stuff. Like, I am a positive thinker. I know it's hard to say. I'm a very positive thinker and a positive person. There's always, a light at the end of the tunnel and things like that. And I think those things really do shift you, and you just enjoy life. I feel like a lot more, because the stress of everyday things like paying your bills or whatever's going on just don't seem as bad anymore. Because you're like, well, things happen. We're just going to focus on this pretty flower over here because it's gorgeous. And, you go about your day. And so I love that. And your book is so beautiful because it's in color, and the pictures that you paired with everything is amazing. So it's definitely just a beautiful, like, just the cover sitting there.
I know.
There. Like, that's like, yes. I want to be there. I want to be there or in Hawaii where Carrie's illustrator is. Like, either one is fine with me. I'm there for it 100%. But how long did it take you to put this book together? I know you said you kind of started posting them on social media and everyone was like, put a book together.
Yeah. So the illustrations, so this was a different kind of book. This was not the outline kind of book. It was thematic, based on a lot of real experience and core exploration. So I would say overall, including the illustrations, which were very pleasantly but painstakingly picked to match, it was really like a 3-year project. I do deal with a little bit of misperfection, so, but it was really a long project, but so rewarding in the end. And I just get excited when people say, I keep your book on my bedside table, and I can just open it and read one page at night or in the morning, or, or I keep it on my living room, dining room table. And great Christmas gift, by the way.
It is, but I feel like it's like a conversation starter, like just from the title of it. If it's sitting on your coffee table or whatever, I feel like it sparks conversation, and then it helps kind of spread the message of the book to others just from the cover of it, And
it does. It starts that, like, moving in a positive direction.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just is like a warm, fuzzy, positive cover. Like, I'm here for your cover. Like, if I could just have that photo on my wall, it would just, I'm telling you, it would be great. I just come in here when my kids were losing their mind. I'd be like, oh, but this is here. This is here.
So true.
Exactly. So I need your book, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
It's feeding back to my, my bank account's going to be at 0, but I'm here for it. I love it. I love it 100%.
Well, Amy, you get one for free because I love you. So that's your Christmas present. It's coming. You're gonna get the hardcover.
Oh my gosh! Merry Christmas to me! Oh my gosh! It's just let me soak it in. Let me soak it in. Oh, I love it. I can't.
But then I do still have a free gift for everybody too.
Yes, absolutely. So why don't we jump into that? So tell us what your holiday special and promotion is this holiday season.
Okay. So I have a small booklet. I think it's like 25, it's about 30 pages. And it's a joy journal. It's a 7-day joy journal. It also has full color. It is digital, or you can print it out. Now, if you're not a writer and you happen to be watching this, which is somewhat less likely, but just in case, you don't have to worry about a lot of longhand. It's set up in a PDF where you can type right in, or you can print it out and then just luxuriate and write longhand. So it's not a lot of content. You don't have to write paragraphs and paragraphs. It's to help you develop your awareness of what is taking joy away and what is bringing joy in your life. So there's a simple question or two in the morning, a simple question or two at night to reflect back on the day. And you just have that for 7 days. And it's really transformative what you can discover about yourself. Sometimes we have no idea the things that are taking our joy away. Like, we just haven't really focused on that. Or sometimes the simple things we're neglecting, like playing with your dogs, baking Christmas cookies, whatever that is, that might bring you joy and that you should spend more time doing. So enjoy it. It's a really fun, some people finish it and do it again, which you can because it's digital. And I know that's going to be in the content, but it's just, it's a hidden page on my site. So it's AnnScotland.com/joy-journal, and you'll enjoy that.
I love it. Look at that. Oh, I love it. It's definitely one of those I recommend everybody read. And it's just a conversation starter, and it makes me happy. So I am here. I am here for it 100%. But Anne, it is always so much fun and lovely to talk to you. So thank you. I am so honored that all of you chose to be on with me this evening. But thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to hang out with me. It's always so much fun.
Thank you.
So you guys, coming up next is JP Micklin. I always struggle with that. Is that right? Yes, it is.
It's McLean, but that's okay. I answer to many things, many things.
So do I. My last name is Ravi Chandran, and I always know when someone's going to struggle to say it because they're like, Miss Ra, and then Chandran. And I'm like, yeah, no, just Amy. Amy's good. You know what? Amy's good. So, okay. I knew I was bound to butcher somebody's name. I'm so sorry it was you.
No, I am okay with that 100%. Hey, listen, thank you for including me in this absolutely impressive lineup of speakers. This is fabulous. I'm feeling very honored tonight.
Oh, well, you are welcome. I tried to make it where nobody knew anybody so you guys could all just become BFFs. I mean, y'all are my BFFs. So I absolutely love it. But JP, tell us the genre that you write in, or multiple genres, and how long you've been a writer.
I write supernatural thrillers and urban fantasy, and I've been writing full-time for 11 years. I had to actually do the math because, you know, you start writing before it gets published. And so I didn't always know I was going to be a writer. As a matter of fact, I never thought I'd have an idea big enough for a book, but I had been away with my husband, working in the sunny South for about 5 years. And our first winter home, I live on a little island on the West Coast. And the first winter we were home, I was wondering what on earth I was going to do to occupy my time. And I had been reading an awful lot of urban fantasy while I was away. And so I just thought, well, I'm just going to try to write a scene. And it was based on these dreams that I have of flying. And I had such fun writing that one scene and perfecting it and going over it and over it. And I thought, okay, now I have this one scene. That total pantster this for the first book for sure. So this woman's not just going to fly off the deck. There's got to be something on either end of that. She must know she can fly. And then what happens? Where's she going to? And then what happens after she gets there? So it turned into a book. It needed an awful lot of work before it was ready to publish. But that's how I started writing urban fantasy. And it goes way back to my public school days when I was assigned to read John Wyndham's The Chrysalids. And I remember when I read that book thinking how wonderful it must be to be able to communicate. He had the children in that story, the ones that were mutants, could communicate using their thoughts. And I love that idea. And ever since then, anything that's got magic in it or supernatural, I'm just drawn to. I love it.
See, I understand that. I can get it because I'm drawn to that. You are just like me, except I like the book Gone Girl, and it was such a psychological thriller, and it was just beautiful the way that everything was manipulated. That's how my mind works. So you're my people. Yes. It's one of those things you don't want to be in my mind, but I'm a nice person in person. I promise. I am a nice person. I won't hurt you. Just in my mind, I can't control that. That's different, you know. But I love it. So what was that pivotal moment for you where you sat down and you started writing and you're like, this is really going to be something? What was that for you?
It started when I realized that I didn't want to stop writing. So I would sit down after supper and start writing, and I would continue to write through, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and my husband would toddle off to bed, and I'd say, I'll be there in a minute. And 3 a.m, I would still be writing, so engrossed in the story. And I just knew that kind of passion, I hadn't experienced that with any of my other hobby type things. Not gardening, not cooking, nothing, not even my work life. So I knew that it was something special. And when I came up with the ending to the book, when I had that final ending, I knew that it was a story that I wanted to share because the ending surprised me. And nowadays the endings don't surprise me so much because I usually have them. I hate to say I'm a plotter, but I am more of a plotter now than I was. So I definitely know what the beginning is and the end is before I sit down to start writing a big, long story. And thank you, Jennifer, for your comment.
No, I get that. This is why, yet again, you guys are the writers. I just live through you guys, because I feel like for me to put out a book would take like 50 years, because I'd be like, oh, this outline, I need to do it. It's not working. Or if I sat down and be like, well, but my mind's going in this direction, and it would switch every day. That I had the things that you guys do. I always say the world would be such a boring place if we didn't have authors, because you guys take us out of reality. You take us on adventures and mysteries, and you give us those things that sometimes are hard to just get in everyday life. More like, you can do it with movies and stuff, but with a book, you remember it and you get so engulfed in it, and you were like, oh, you need to read this book, and you'll pass it on, right? You don't really do that with a movie, like, oh yeah, that was a fantastic movie, you should see it. With a book, you give it to someone, you're like, you need to read this, right?
Yeah.
And it really is the gift that keeps on giving. And that's why I love working with you guys, because you guys are fascinating. The ideas that you get and the way that these ideas come to you. I mean, some have come in a dream, or, like Red, and you got to get up at 2 a.m. and write. I mean, that's dedication. You're like the opposite of Red. You were going to bed when he was waking up to remember to write. Okay. Like, y'all are opposites. And I love that, but it's just the dedication, but the creativity and imagination that you bring, but it's the way that you guys use words and the power of them, and the way that you flow and you blend them together to make these amazing stories, which your books are. I mean, they are lovely and they are beautifully written and flow amazing. And so it's such an art. You guys are artists, and I love it. I'm here for it. I love it. So how many books total have you published?
I have 9 full-length books, 1 novella, and several short stories out now. So 2 series, and then the novella is just a book on its own.
Wow. And you have won a lot of awards. Is that correct?
I have. With this latest one, I'm trying a new, it takes a certain amount of confidence to submit your books to contests. And I hadn't really done that prior to this new series, but I started with this new series, and I've been pleasantly surprised, because it's done really well in awards. So I'm very, very proud of it.
Yes, I remember the last time we spoke. Is it 10 awards that you have won? Or, I was going to say, because you were listing them off and you're like, I don't remember the rest. I'm like, that's a good problem. That is a good problem to have. I'm here for it. 100%.
Thanks.
Because your writing is one that deserves to be recognized, and you deserve the awards that you have won. And I know that you have them, but to be like, oh, wait, I just had a mind, blank. Let me try to remember my 10 awards is just amazing. Like, it's so amazing to me. And so I love that. So what is next for you? Are you dabbling outside? Are you going to continue in the realm that you write in? What's next for you?
I'm busy and well into the 3rd book in the Dark Dream series. So there will be Bloodmark and then Ghostmark that just came out, and then I'm on to the 3rd one. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the last one or not in that series, but right now it's looking like it might be the wrap up in that particular series. And I'm just caught up in it, loving it, trying to find the twists and turns to make it interesting and keep people on their toes. So that's what I'm doing.
Do you find that difficult, to deliver that in each book? Because I know each book that you write, is different, a different amount of work and effort and everything goes into that. Do you find it to be harder each time to continue surprising and doing, hooks and left turns and all of these and surprising your readers? Or do you write for your readers, or do you write from yourself? I guess is a better way to ask that.
I write for myself, because I find that really has to come first. You have to really love what you're writing in order to deliver something that other people are going to love to read. But I am finding this series more difficult, because there are 3 storylines and they're all interwoven. So getting the timing correct on those 3 storylines so that everything is happening in the order it needs to happen. I'm finding that a real challenge, but that's what keeps it interesting for me too, is having a challenge in the writing. Like so many of the others on tonight have been talking about how much they enjoy working with words and sentences. And that's part of the joy of putting together a complex story, is making sure that if you're going to hide a red herring, you want to make sure that it's well hidden. It's
Right.
not going to, so it's playing with those words that is so fun and such an interesting thing, and keeps you busy, keeps you going, and yeah, just love it.
I love that. It's the thrill of being strategic in your writing. I feel like is really what it is. And I feel like it's kind of the same, in all realms, like in nonfiction, it's the thrill of getting all this information that and you've researched and you've acquired and you've experienced and written in a way that other people will understand it because they're not in your head, right? And it's kind of the same in fiction, where it's like, oh, well, I want to incorporate this. What's the way that I can do it where my reader can kind of pick up on it, but it's not going to spoil like chapter 15, right? And
Yes.
so I love that. I'm not a plotter. I'm not outlines, but I'm a very strategic thinker. My mind just works like that. It's the weirdest thing, but I appreciate that so much. And I think it comes across in the writing and stuff when you write for yourself and not necessarily for your readers, because you love the genre that you write in and you love to also read that. I think it really comes across, and your passion really starts to show, because it's really for your own enjoyment and you love the genre that you write in. So you are technically writing for writers or for readers, because you're writing for yourself as a reader, right?
That's right.
And I think that makes it's so beautiful that you do that. I've never heard of someone say that they write for themselves. I always hear you write for genres or for the readers in that section, or whatever, but you write for yourself. And I think that is a very beautiful thing. 100%. I think that is very beautiful and is something that should be recognized for sure. And it really comes across in your writing that you just love this. Like, it's almost like you eat, sleep, and breathe writing. It's like, oh, if I can't write today, what is going on? I need to do that. It's the addiction that all of you guys have as being writers. You guys are an addict. Okay. I will be your AAA teacher. It's okay. I understand. You guys are addicted to writing. It's okay. I'm here for it. I will encourage this. So it's not a normal AAA, because I will encourage you to continue with your habit for sure. But it is very beautifully written. So JP, tell us a little bit about your holiday special that you're offering this holiday season.
Well, I'm thrilled to be offering Bloodmark, which is that award-winning book we talked about. And it is on for 99 cents for the duration. So go and get a copy and get lost for the holidays in something that's outside of yourself. Enjoy it.
I love it. And that it is definitely amazing. It is one that you guys should all take advantage of this holiday season. But JP, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come hang out with, my crazy self. All of you guys get along with me wonderful. We're all best friends after this. Okay.
Well, thank you for your enthusiasm. It's infectious and I love it. It makes me want to come back.
You're so welcome. You all are welcome for Christmas dinner. Okay. You're more than welcome. Okay. Come knock on my door. But you guys are all so amazing. So with all that being said, I know that we are a little bit after 8, but you guys, they're such amazing conversations, amazing authors. Can you really put a time limit on it? I mean, to be fair, you really can't. Yes, Kim, I definitely agree. So you guys go and take advantage of these amazing holiday promotions, because they are incredible. They're amazing deals, but they're only going to be here for the 12 days of Page Turners. So make sure you go and grab them now. Like I said earlier, the greatest gift that you can give anyone this holiday season is a new book to read. Take them out, experience new things, build their imagination, their vocabulary, everything like that. It is the gift that keeps on giving. But don't worry, you guys, because tomorrow night we have a new lineup of authors, new genres, everything coming, new holiday promotions. So make sure that you join us. But until next time, everybody, bye until tomorrow.